ITWeb's annual Business Continuity Conference hosted the who's who in the BCM fraternity and helped delegates explore how to practically align BCM practices with organizational strategy and how to thrive despite adversity and disruption.
My presentation today spoke about how do we unravel the business continuity investment for chief financial officers. Chief financial officers are faced on a daily basis with a number of requests for funding. However, the practical reality is that not all of these requests can be met.
Most public sector institutions in Zambia, they view business continuity as a necessary cost of doing business, and therefore most management are not willing to fund such expenditure.
Business continuity, while essential and vital and part of ensuring the resilience of operations, is a similar sort of challenge for chief financial officers. They essentially have to work out what exactly am I actually spending money on and how am I getting a return out of this investment that I'm spending on.
The public sector institutions are not regulated. There's no requirement for them to have business continuity programs in place. That makes it difficult to implement business continuity. And those that implement business continuity, you find that they'll do it just to align with other institutions that are practicing business continuity, but without understanding what is supposed to be involved.
Held at the Maslow in Sandton, this two-day event featured in-depth talks and analysis from subject matter experts and offered a networking platform for attendees.
I think there were a lot of diverse topics that were discussed today, covering elements of integration of BCM with other disciplines, challenges that have been faced.
The first one, the biggest one, being infrastructure. If you look at the state of infrastructure in Africa, usually it does frustrate efforts to have business continuing at all times. You hear about power problems in Malawi, I've heard about them in South Africa, I've heard about them in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and I can cite a lot of other countries that are facing similar problems. But other than that, I think in countries like Malawi, we are also looking at internet connectivity, for example. The networks are not that reliable. Sometimes it's a key supplier that is down and causing a lot of problems countrywide. How do you communicate and ensure that business is continuing in a situation like that?
So I think there's been a lot of takeaways from the sessions and the ability to answer questions during the panel discussions to be able to understand what other people are struggling with and to learn from the mistakes and obviously the wins that other people have had.
I'm hoping that the audience today will take away the fact that they can't just look at the past and what's happening today to predict the future. They've got an environmental scan, they've got a horizon scan, they've got to research on a daily or weekly basis to look at what's happening in the world and how it might impact on their organisation, their functions, their operational activities. If they don't do that, they'll become stale and they'll die as business continuity practitioners.